Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a really interesting guide here. It's called the Putting Development Program.
Right, and it's specifically for putting in golf. Very structured.
Exactly. It promises a step-by-step path. Seems quite detailed. So our mission today is to really dig into it, pull out the key parts.
Yeah, see how it's supposed to work, what the thinking is behind improving your putting game with this specific program.
So first off, what really jumps out is how structured it is. The source calls it a complete training guide.
Hmm. And it's laid out over 19 days initially.
19 days, that sounds, well, pretty intense. Like you need 3 weeks solid.
Well, that's where it gets interesting, actually. It's built with flexibility in mind. So while the content covers 19 days of practice,
You don't have to do it in 19 consecutive days.
exactly, you can pace yourself. The guide actually suggests options, like maybe practice 3 days a week.
Okay, so 3 days a week would take you, what, about 7 weeks total?
Yeah, something like that. Or if you're busier, maybe just 2 days a week.
Which stretches it out to 10 weeks.
Right. And you could even do just one day of the program's practice per week. That takes you to the full 19 weeks.
Gotcha. There's even an option mentioned about repeating a day's practice 2 or 3 times in a week.
Yep. Still following the 19-day sequence, just deepening the practice on certain days, which obviously extends the overall time.
Yeah, so it's more like 19 sessions or practice plans you can schedule.
Pretty much. And these 19 days are grouped into 6 phases, roughly 2 days per phase.
And the big picture goal.
Improve putting, lower your score. Simple as that, but using this structure to get there.
Okay. And how does it start? What's the foundation?
It really emphasizes distance control. That comes first. The program argues it's the absolute fundamental.
Right. Speed. Makes sense. You miss the speed, nothing else matters much.
Couldn't agree more. And that's why days 2 and 3, right after the initial intro day, are dedicated solely to distance control.
Okay, so how do they have you practice that? What are the drills?
One key one is called parking the ball behind the hole.
Parking it.
Yeah, you putt from about 5 meters, let's say. But the goal isn't making it. It's stopping the ball just past the hole
Oh, interesting. How far past?
in a specific zone, like 15 to 35 centimeters past the hole, consistently.
So you're training to always get it there and never leave it short, but with control.
Exactly. Control too much speed. The other main drill is the 3 tees drill.
Okay.
You set up tees at different spots, say 3 meters, 6 meters, 9 meters, same goal.
Mm.
Finish 15, 35 centimeters past.
But you mix up the distances you putt from?
Yeah, you mix the order, so you're not just grooving one distance, you're constantly adjusting your feel, like real golf.
Right, forces adaptation. And the idea is just honing that depth perception, that feel for distance. How long are these sessions?
Pretty focused, about 20 to 30 minutes each day during this phase. Lots of reps, maybe 50 putts or so, just on speed.
Okay, so you nail down the speed. What's the next block in the program?
Logically, it moves straight to aim and alignment.
Makes sense. Once the speed's right, you need to start it on the right line.
Precisely. The idea is, if your speed is good, proper aim and alignment gets your body and the club face set up so the ball actually rolls straight on your intended line.
Letting the break do its work. So days 5 and 6 tackle this.
That's right. Aim and alignment focus.
And the drills for that?
Yeah.
Any specific tools?
Yeah, they mentioned using alignment aids.
Yeah.
Like a tour stick or, any straight stick or even just another golf club.
Oh, yeah.
You lay it down on the green, maybe 3 meters out, pointing slightly outside the hole if there's break, and use that as a strong visual guide.
Gives you something solid to align your feet, body, putter face to.
Exactly. And then they build on that with something called the string line drill.
String line.
Yeah, you stretch a piece of string, top between 2 pencils stuck in the green. The string runs right over your target line, maybe guided by that tour stick.
Ah, okay.
And you practice putting the ball so it rolls directly under the string.
Well, that sounds like it demands precision. Shows up any flaw in the path or face angle immediately, right?
Absolutely. It's designed specifically for aligning the club face and your body. These sessions are similar in length, 20, 30 minutes, about 50 putts focused purely on starting the ball on line.
So, foundation is speed, then layer on aim and alignment. Where next? Getting into the finer points.
Kind of. The program calls the next stage Advanced Golf Concepts.
Advanced, what does that cover?
This is days 8 and 9. Focuses on visualization and green reading.
Okay, now we're talking about seeing the break, understanding the slopes.
Yeah.
How do you drill that?
One method is the highest point of break drill.
Okay.
You figure out where a breaking putt will reach its highest point before turning towards the hole. Mark that spot with a tee or a coin.
Right, the apex.
Exactly. And the drill is simply to put the ball over that mark. forces you to trust your read and commit to starting the ball high enough.
Huh. That really makes you commit to playing the break, doesn't it? Not aiming at the hole.
It does. Then you change spots, different slopes, repeat. The other drill is the around the hole drill.
Sounds familiar. Clock drill.
Pretty much. Set up at 3, 6, 9, and 12 o'clock, around the hole. Maybe from, say, 3 feet, a makeable but crucial distance. Yeah. But here's the key. You have to hold the putt from one spot before you're allowed to move to the next station.
Ooh, okay. That adds some real pressure.
Yeah.
Mimics needing to make those short ones on the course.
Exactly. Builds confidence from all angles, makes you focus, encourages a bit of creativity in reading those tricky little putts. These sessions, maybe 20, 30 minutes, 40, 50 putts, quality over quantity.
Right. Speed, line, reading the green. Feels like the core elements are covered. What's in the second half of the program?
Yeah, the source suggests it shifts more towards refining the stroke itself, the fine detail.
Mechanics, getting really dialed in.
Exactly. So days 11 and 12 focus on follow-through precision.
Keeping the putter moving correctly after impact. Crucial. How do they work on that?
One way is the rail drill. You use 2 tour sticks again, but this time place them parallel on the ground, just wider than your putter head.
Creative.
Yeah, a little channel extending past the ball towards the hole. You practice putting, keeping the putter head moving smoothly between those rails through impact and after.
Great visual and physical feedback for the path.
It is. And there's the gate drill. Similar idea, but simpler setup. Just 2 tees placed in the green right behind the ball, forming a narrow gate slightly wider than the putter head.
And you just putt through the gate.
Yep. Focuses you on delivering a square putter face right at impact and maintaining that smooth path through the ball.
Feels like that really isolates hitting the sweet spot with a square face consistently.
That's the goal. Developing precise follow-through, consistent impact. Again, 20, 30-minute sessions, maybe 50 putts working on that stroke mechanic.
Okay, follow-through is nailed down. Then what?
Then comes accuracy drills.
Yep.
This is days 14 and 15.
Accuracy. So hitting specific spots.
Exactly. Combining all the skills, speed, line, stroke to hit targets precisely.
How do they drill that?
One is the ladder drill. You set up several tees as targets at different distances, maybe getting progressively longer.
Like rungs on a ladder.
Right. And you practice putting to make the ball stop at each tee, not just near it. And again, mix up the order you aim for.
Working on hitting specific distances on command. Very useful.
Very. The other one sounds tough. The over-the-line drill.
Over the line?
You mark a perfectly straight line on the green, maybe with chalk, maybe string. The drill is just to putt the ball so it rolls precisely on that line for a certain distance.
Okay. What's the catch?
If the ball rolls off the line before it reaches the end point, you start that putt over.
Whoa. Restarting, that's demanding. Tests your ability to roll it pure.
Big time. Really sharpens aim, focus, consistency, makes you concentrate on getting that perfect end-over-end roll. These sessions are 20, 30 minutes, but that over-the-line drill...
Could take a while if you keep missing.
Exactly. Could stretch to an hour if you're having an off day. Real mental workout.
Okay, so you've built the skills, piece by piece, honed accuracy. How does it all come together?
The final practice phase, days 17 and 18, is about scoring practice. Putting it all together in a more game-like way.
Right, moving from isolated drills to something that feels more like playing golf.
Exactly. One drill is the multiple hole drill. You pick, say, 5 different holes on the practice green, and you play them like a mini course. Putt from realistic spots, different distances, finishing out at a designated target hole.
Simulating a few holes. Makes sense.
And that leads into the big one, the 18-hole challenge.
Playing a full round on the practice green.
Basically, yes. You simulate 18 holes, putting from various distances and lies you might face on the course, and you keep score. Track your strokes.
Okay.
The program suggests doing at least 9 holes per session in this phase.
That's a really smart way to bridge the gap between practice and play. See how the skills hold up under simulated pressure?
Yeah, the goal is explicitly enhancing scoring ability, reinforcing distance control, and making decisions like you would for real. These sessions are a bit longer, 25, 40 minutes maybe.
Now, through all these phases, all these drills, how do you actually know if you're getting better? Is there feedback built in?
Absolutely. That's a key part. Regular testing. It's scheduled throughout the program.
Oh, okay. When?
Day 1 is a baseline test. Then again on day 4, day 7, day 10, 13, 16, and then a final test on day 19. So frequent check-ins.
Every few sessions, you get a progress report, essentially.
Exactly. You do 3 specific tests each time, and you log your scores. So you get objective data.
Okay, what are these 3 tests? What do they measure?
First is putt hold. Simple. Putt 24 times, from a set distance, maybe 8 or 10 feet, something challenging. Count how many you make.
Straightforward performance. Makes sense.
Second is average putt length. This one's interesting. You hit 9 putts towards a target. Then you ignore the 4 closest and the 4 farthest.
Leaving just the middle one.
Right. And you measure the distance that middle ball is from the target. It's measuring your consistency, your grouping. Dispersion, really.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. How tightly clustered your putts are. Clever.
Yeah. And the third test is stop within a circle. You make a circle around the hole, maybe using your driver shaft or some string, putt from a set distance, and count how many balls finish inside that circle. Another measure of distance control, specifically leaving it close.
So you track makes, consistency of distance, and proximity to the hole.
Got it. And this starts right on day 1.
Yes, day 1 is that initial baseline test. But day 1 also introduces something called the core putt drill.
Core putt.
Yeah, and this is one the program says you should do every single day you practice putting, right at the start.
A daily warm-up ritual? What is it?
It's unusual. You take 3 or 4 balls, you make putting strokes, let them roll, but you don't look at a target, and you don't aim.
Putting without aiming or looking at a target. Why?
The goal is just to instinctively roll the balls the same distance each time, purely by feel. But here's the really unique part.
Okay.
While you stay in your putting posture, you turn your head to watch the balls roll away.
Turn your head while putting.
Well, right after the stroke, to watch them roll. The source claims this specific head turn, while keeping posture, stretches neck muscles.
And this somehow signals the green speed for the day to your brain.
Okay, wow. That is not something I've heard before. A physical cue to calibrate speed feel.
That's the stated purpose, yeah. To become your own personal green speed gauge really quickly each day. You do it maybe 10, 12 times, 30, 40 putts total. It's quick, 4 or 5 minutes. Just tune in before the main practice.
Fascinating. Definitely unique. And day 19 wraps it all up.
Day 19 is the final test, repeating those 3 measurements to see your overall improvement. And it includes one last quick putting drill, just a short session to reinforce everything learned.
Okay, so stepping back, looking at this whole thing, what's the big takeaway from this deep dive?
I think what's really clear is that this program provides a very, very detailed, structured approach. It's not random tips. It's a system.
Yeah, it breaks putting down methodically. Distance, then aim, then reading, then stroke refinement, then accuracy, builds layer by layer.
Exactly. And having specific drills for each skill takes the guesswork out of practice. You know what to work on and how.
Plus the regular testing, that's huge. Gives you actual feedback, concrete numbers. You're not just hoping you're improving.
Right. You can track it.
So overall, it seems like a really solid roadmap. If you follow it, the structure itself is designed to lead to better putting, lower scores, by systematically tackling each key part of putting. It's about focused, progressive work.
Definitely seems that way. Building skill upon skill.
You know, this whole deep dive into the putting development program really underscores how effective a structured, phased approach can be for a complex skill like putting. Going from fundamentals, building up, testing along the way. It makes you wonder, could applying that same kind of methodical structure, identifying core fundamentals, building skills sequentially, maybe adding objective tests, be a powerful way to get better at almost any skill you want to learn? Not just in sports, but anything. Something to think about.